Hi, Cathy Demers here. Welcome to the webinar with myself and David Perdue. And we have both been talking sort of off stage in the virtual green room, if you will, about how much we are looking forward to this event. And I know there's a lot of people who are looking forward to it as well. In fact, we had hundreds and hundreds of people register. We had lots of registrations come in just today. So I'm really pleased that you're here. I know this is going to be an excellent use of your time, and we're here to give you some really great value. You're going to learn a lot from David Perdue today. So welcome. Now, David Perdue is going to have the lion's share of the talking stick today because he has a lot to teach you, and so I'm going to kind of fade into the background. He might bring me in from time to time, ask a question or put me on the spot. That's okay, David. Go ahead and do that any old time. But before we get started, what I'd like to do is give him a bit of an introduction. Some of you know David Perdue very well. Him and I have done a ton of things together. I love working with him and his team. Some of you don't know him very well. And so I want to give him just a little bit of an introduction here so you get some sense of how to put some of the things he's going to be teaching you today into context. I should also mention, I've had a lot of coffee today already, so you might want to have some extra just in self-defense, David. I'll let you know that. I'm talking rather quickly. So David Perdue. So David Perdue is the CEO of NAMS. Now NAMS stands for the Novice to Advanced Marketing System. He is a former journalist, consultant. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's built one of the most successful and fastest growing business training systems available today called mynams.com. And the Novice to Advanced Marketing Systems, well, it's a step-by-step tutorial system, and it's focused on team, training, and tools. And it's designed specifically to help anywhere from novice entrepreneurs to advanced business people to become even more successful. Now, I have been honored to be an instructor for NAMS. I've also contributed to some content with him, and I've been honored to be a keynote at his conferences as well. So here's something else interesting to know about David Perdue is that way back in 2003, he personally built his own 2,200 square foot log cabin in North Alabama, and this is where he lives with his wife and his 2 dogs and a cat, and they live in this 95 acres of forest with 2 streams and a 60-foot waterfall. In fact, if I remember correctly, he even built a lake. He built a lake so he could fish on the lake. So he is into all kinds of interesting things. He's one of the nicest people I know. I will tell you that. One of the nicest people I know. But more than that, he's one of the most accomplished and smartest people I know. So you're going to learn a lot from him. So David, let's do this, shall we?
Wow, Cathy, thank you. That's a great introduction. I don't know that I can live up to all of that, but I'll try to.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to rock and roll here. We're going to talk about something today. This is a follow-up, by the way, for a lot of folks who are on your cafe this month. And we started talking about some really interesting things about getting clear on what you wanted out of your life and how to do that. And one of the things we promised then was that we would talk today about creating a decision matrix. And a decision matrix is a concept you may not be familiar with, but I really think that most successful people do this. And Cathy, I've watched Cathy for years. Cathy does this. She knows exactly what she wants, and she knows what interferes with what she wants and what enhances what she wants. Helps her get there quickly. And so I'm going to walk through my process for what we've done to make sure that we apply a decision matrix to our entire business. And my daughter Jennifer, sorry, Cathy.
I just wanted to interrupt for just one moment, and that is because some people who are in the webinar today attended the Business Success Cafe with you last week, and some people didn't. So for those people who were at the Business Success Cafe last week, I just want you to know there may be a little bit of review material here, which is great, but we want to make sure that everyone's sort of starting on the same page, right, David?
Yeah, there's going to be very little review material here. Actually,
okay.
We're going to jump right into this. So and start digging into that whole piece because we wanted to focus on that piece of it. Okay. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump to the slides and we'll get started.
Sure. You were going to mention that Jennifer's here as well.
Oh, I did. Yeah, Jennifer, my daughter, is here. This is Jennifer. She's the one who actually runs our company. And she's been the one who keeps me focused on my decision matrix. So she actually is part of my decision matrix. So there you go. All right, so what you see here on the screen is the first slide, and we just titled this presentation Hell Yes or Hell No. And that's a little crude, and it's a little over the top for me. I usually don't go that direction, but this is completely appropriate for the kind of decision matrix that we want to build. We want to be so well clued in to our processes and our will and our desires that we can automatically make decisions that take us forward or that that take us toward our dreams or away from our dreams. I mean, we want to make sure that we avoid anything that takes us away and make sure that we stay focused on the stuff that takes us forward. And I think that that's what you want out of your life. That's what we all want. But we're going to talk about the process today for how to create that decision matrix. So how to create a decision matrix to simplify and enhance your life. That's the topic today. So here's a lighthouse. A lighthouse, they've been using lighthouses for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the reason a lighthouse is so important is because ships come from the oceans, and what they do is they head toward a destination across thousands and thousands of miles, and they come to a rocky shore, and if the lighthouse wasn't there, they would crash and burn, because that's what they would crash right into the rocks. That's a problem, right? So are you seeing this slide of the lighthouse?
No, I'm not seeing it actually. I was just going to interrupt you when you were done your sentence and let you know we haven't advanced past the hell yes or hell no slide.
That's interesting. So hold on just a second. Let me come back over here. I'm going to do the screen share again. It looks like it might have locked up. Never happened before, but we'll try it again. Ah, there we go. Lighthouse.
Oh,
perfect.
Beautiful.
And it's a pretty lighthouse too, right?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. So the concept of a lighthouse to me is really interesting, because the lighthouse is what gives people a one-point focus for avoiding death, basically, right? I mean, it's that important that you stay focused on the lighthouse when you're sailing into a cove at night. And Cathy, I know you've got a boat out there in Vancouver, and you guys probably use these lighthouses or something similar to that. Or you may be affected by something like this. That's what the coast looks like now on a lot of places. This is New York at night. So when you come into New York, you can't just see one light. So you have to have a lot more careful guidance system that gets you into the coast. Now, the difference is this is not clear, right? This is not easy. The lighthouse is incredibly easy. There's one light. There's one focus. And that's what we're talking about here today, is focus. So the key here is to make sure that you are headed in the right direction. So this is one entrepreneur's story of frustration. And you're going to find out who this entrepreneur is in just a few minutes. I just flip from thing to thing. I don't finish anything. I keep buying and buying. Nothing works. I'm banging my head against the wall. Everyone else is getting rich. Those sound like things that you've said to yourself, I'm sure, if you are in business today. If you're having some frustrations in your business, this is really an important thing for you to take a look at here. Are you feeling this kind of frustration? We're going to get into that. This is called discontent. And discontent is incredibly important for you moving forward, because the only way oh, Diana says, oh my God, I think that's me. That's great. I knew that might work. But one of the things that you are going to understand is that discontent is your friend. Discontent opens a door for you to be more focused, for you to realize what you want. If something is not making you happy, it is absolutely something that you want to stay away from. So discontent is a great flag along the way. There was a concept long ago called divine discontent. It was a proverb. Divine discontent is the first step toward either happiness or change. And I love that. Divine discontent is the first step toward happiness or change. So I asked this question of one of my clients not long ago. she was struggling with kind of a direction for her business, and I said, "What do you want? What's your dream?" And I got exactly what I didn't want, which was she burst into tears because she said, "I don't know. I don't know how to dream. I don't know what my dreams are. I've never had a dream. I don't know." And I know people like that. I know people that can't place it in their head what their dream is. They can't find that spot in their head that reveals their dreams because they've never done it. They've kept themselves so constricted that they can't quite identify with a dream. It's really important to focus on dreams. It's really important to be able to understand that this is where your future lives. This is where your happiness lives. And I'm not talking about the dreams when you sleep. That is important. But being able to see a vision and have a dream that's bigger than you can see how to accomplish today is really important. So I helped this woman understand that she was experiencing fear, and that fear was keeping her from realizing not only her dreams, but her best life and achieving the kind of happiness that she wanted in her business. And fear is what holds us all back. Fear's not bad. Fear, once you recognize it, is something that you just work through and maintain. But it will drive you to think about failure, low self-worth, doubt, and that you want to quit. And you know, for me, I can't do this comes up when I'm in fear. So luckily I have people around me who convince me that I can, and we keep moving on. But fear can always turn to desperation if you're lucky. And that desperation is to succeed with little hope of success if you're not careful. So here's what you're doing. Fear turns to desperation to succeed. But if you don't have a process, it's with little hope of success. So today we're going to talk about the process of harnessing that desperation. So I know somebody, remember that entrepreneur's story of frustration? This entrepreneur spent $22,000 before ever making a nickel online. Zero revenue, $22,000 spent. Yeah, that was me. I did that. So this was when I first got started online. In about 2004, 2005, I built that house, by the way, in 2003, yes, and moved in at the end of 2003. And during the time I was building that house, I was learning about online business. So from 2003 to 2005, I spent $22,000 and made zero money online. I had a mentor at that time, and I went to the mentor and I said, "When am I going to start making money?" And his response to that was, "When do you want to? When will you make up your mind that you want to start making money online?" And what he was telling me is that I needed to have a vision. I needed to be incredibly clear on that vision. So Cathy, does this make sense so far? Are you identifying with any of this, or your coaching clients identifying with any of this?
You know, I'm certainly identifying with it. I've been there myself, and you know, this thing that you said about fear turning into desperation to succeed, I want to make a comment about that, and that is that unfortunately when people are desperate to succeed, it bleeds through into everything they do. All their marketing, all their messaging, all their conversations, and it just makes matters worse.
Yep.
You know, being desperate just makes it worse. So, you know, I so like this whole idea of breaking that cycle, and your story about it. So, yeah.
So, $22,000. What are you going to do? You got to do something differently. That's what my mentor was telling me. I got to do something different. So, back to the lighthouse. I need to find that beacon. I needed to find that beacon that would bring me home, would take me toward my goal, and it would be a clear path. So that's what I was focused on, was finding that clear path. Unfortunately, I, like all of you, get some of the worst advice possible. And you're going to be really surprised what this incredibly bad advice is. Think outside the box. That is such a terrible idea. And I'll tell you exactly why it's such a terrible idea. If you're thinking outside the box, that means that you don't have a clear definition of what's in the box. And we're going to talk today about staying in the box, because believe it or not, inside the box is where the treasure is. This is where you're going to find your vision, your values, your future, and your guiding principles. All of these are going to be inside your box, and that's how you identify your own treasure, is building a box that protects you. So be careful about this whole concept of thinking outside the box. So what is your treasure? That's what we're going to talk about today, is what is your treasure, how do you find it, and then how do you protect it? So we're going to jump right over here to this is the illustration of your decision matrix coming up. This is you. This is your heart. And you put your heart in a box, and you build this wall around this heart, and then you add these elements: core values, vision, guiding principles, and a future state. Those are the 4 walls that you harden around this box, so that all of these people who think they're doing wonderful things for you are actually confusing you. If you don't know the values that you have and that you protect inside this box, then everything that comes at you is a distraction. Now, I'd like to know from people who are online here, and this is a Webinar Jam Google Hangout type thing, so that if you respond to this, it'll take a few seconds to get the response in. But I'd like to know how many people are confused by all of the offers that they get, by all of the directions that people say to go, by all of the stuff that comes your way, and you really just can't figure out what's next in your life. So if this is resonating with you, type in the chat box here that it is. I want to see that we're connecting with people on this level, because to me, this is the most important thing you can do. We've got a lot of coaching clients these days, and one of the things we do with our coaching clients is we tell them all to go through this process, to go through this process of defining your decision matrix, of figuring out how you can protect your money, your state of mind, and achieve your ultimate goal. The unfortunate thing is most people don't understand what their ultimate goals are. So, oh boy, everybody's identifying with this. It's just rolling in now. Overwhelmed, absolutely, totally confused and overwhelmed. Makes sense. Yes, and a lot of the information is conflicting. So, Nancy, that's a really good point. A lot of the information is conflicting because you're trying to, not you, Nancy, us people, all of us, are trying to measure our success by what other people are doing, not by what we want. Our success is defined by us, not by everybody else in the world. So it really is, you have to weigh these opportunities that come in based on your values, based on your vision, based on your guiding principles and future state. So let's talk about how we do that. That's why you're here, is to talk about how you build this this decision matrix. And we'll talk about what these elements mean. So yes, it's about bright shiny objects, but it also is much, much further than that. So we're going to get into that as well. The bright shiny object thing is something that is kind of a byproduct of this. People see the bright shiny object syndrome because everyone talks about that, but the reality is the bright shiny object syndrome is a result of a confused mind, is what it is. So we look at 5 areas in our system. We look at business, relationships, health, well-being, and money. Business, relationships, health, well-being, and money. Now the reason we look at all 5 of those is because any one of those can make you have a very bad day. Any one of these can make you have a very good day. If you have a great relationship, it's going to enliven everything else that we have here, everything else in your life. So these are the 5 main areas of stress. If you've got poor health, it's hard to get over it. So what we're going to look at is what happens and why balance is a myth. So everybody says balance, you want a balanced life. I'm telling you that's impossible. Having a balanced life is impossible. Just like that whole think outside the box thing, that's crazy to me. Thinking outside the box is crazy. I want you to stay in this box, understand who you are. The box is who you are. So I want you to figure out who you are, stay within your own core values and with your own guiding principles and vision, and that's your box. We're going to protect the box. Now we've established that. So here are those 5 areas: relationships, health, well-being, money, and business. If they were all static like this on a smooth keel, you would have a pretty boring life. If one of them goes down, though, if money goes down, others are going to start to fall because you have so much stress around money. Same with relationships or health, well-being. You know, the well-being piece for me is like a spiritual code. How's my spiritual life? How's my peace? How's my how's my relationship to the universe and the world? Those kind of things. I consider that to be well-being. If any one of these goes down, it's going to drag everything down. And then you've got a new normal, and it's low, right? So one of the things that a friend of mine said not long ago, let me see if I can remember this. He said, my life was falling apart faster than I could lower my standards. My life was falling apart faster than I can lower my standards. That's what happens when all 5 of these take a nosedive. And that's happened to some of us. That happened to me 25 years ago. Nosedive. Everything fell apart. And so my standards got really low at that point because I had a new normal and it was at the bottom. Now what we want is to make sure that something goes up. And business is an easy thing to improve. Business is a way to focus and to make sure that things improve, because business is an area where you can actually improve the relationships and health and well-being and money as well if you focus on all of these things at once. So when one thing goes up, other things start going up. And this is just an illustration to show you the concept of the 5 areas and how we make sure that we're rolling our lives. We spiral up is what we want, is to spiral up in these 5 areas so our stress is low and our achievement is high. And we build a new normal. And the new normal is higher than the old normal. Is this making sense to you? I hope that you're seeing this, and I hope that you can actually identify these elements in your own life and understand what's being dragged down and what's being improved. So you know some things in your life is working really well, some things are not working very well, and you can identify those. So what we really want is more of this. Excitement, what is this? This is joy. This is, it's celebration. It's all of that. We want more of that in our life. And we want less of this. We want less of this guy, right? We don't want to be the person standing in front of the mirror saying, oh my God, what's next? You don't want to be losing sleep because all of those 5 elements are going down and you can't figure out how to turn them around. The reason they go down is because you need a decision matrix to drive your life. You need that decision matrix. Remember, this is the decision matrix. We're going to see this a couple of times in this presentation, and we're going to come back to it. So, Cathy, do you have anything you want to say about those 5 areas that we talked about?
You know, I really was intrigued when you said it's not about balance, right? Trying to balance these things. We hear this all the time. I need more balance in my life. And I got to tell you, I've never seen it explained the way you've explained it, and I love it. Because it's interesting, because I think most people feel out of balance when those things are off. Then we feel out of balance. But if we're really successful in our relationships, business, money, then we feel balanced, right? So it's kind of I'm trying to explain it. You did it so well, I should probably give up trying to explain it differently. But I loved your explanation of it, and I also like the fact that the idea that this box is designed to protect us, to help us decide, but also to protect us. And I think that now more than ever before, there are so many opportunities for us to let go of our independence and our safety, if you will. And so that's part of what becomes so scary for us out there as small business owners. So.
Well, and just in life. I think it's very scary out there just in life. I mean, if you go trolling on Facebook, I guess trolling is the wrong word these days because that's something else. But if you go just cruising on Facebook, if you spend much time in the wrong areas, or you let too many people into your friends list who have a really negative point of view, it can be a painful, painful place to be.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I do a lot is clean out my friends list. I hear people say, well, if they've got a different opinion from me, I'm not going to remove somebody from my friends list just because they don't think like I do. Well, but the truth is that you're not really disagreeing with somebody. You're choosing not to participate in that negativity, whatever that is. And it could be something, I don't care which side of the political spectrum or which side of whatever debate you're in, you're protecting your own values is what you're doing. So that's the key to this.
So it's about discernment, really.
Yes.
And we owe that to ourselves. And this box is going to allow us to participate in that, right?
Yeah, Kay says life is like an orchestra. There's harmony. If there was balance, we would never hear the melody or the song. I love that. Thank you.
I love
That's
that.
great. So the reason we came up with the bar chart to kind of show the surge and fall of those 5 areas is there's never balance. Kay's right here that when one goes up, you want everything to be moving. If things were in balance, balance is a state of no movement, no growth, no movement. So we really want to make sure that we are focused on movement in an upward direction toward our goals. So the first thing that you need, and by the way, this is inherent in understanding this decision matrix, because you have core values, guiding principles, vision, and future state. Guess what that represents? A lot of work where you've determined what your goals are, what your future state is. A future state is beyond vision. A future state is taking all of this material together that you understand your core values and your guiding principles and your vision, and the future state is actually what it looks like to you, how you see yourself out there. It may not be the way it is now. In fact, that's the reason it's called future state. It's not the way it is now, but you can see yourself being in this situation. How you get there, you have no clue. You probably have no clue on how you get there, and we're going to help you get there because that's what this is about. This is a process for helping you get there. So when you have a decision matrix, when somebody throws something at you, remember all of these little fingers, all these little hands are coming at you with an opportunity or a request or a demand on your time, or it can be even family member, or it can be negativity or positivity, or it can be whatever that causes you any stress in any area, or it can be something you want to let inside the box. It's an opportunity that you want to bring inside the box. You say, hell yes, if you want it to come inside the box because it fits your criteria. You've determined what you want to move forward because you know what your future state is. You know what your core values are. You know what your guiding principles are. Through this process that I'm going to be outlining here, I came up with my guiding principles are, and by the way, we arbitrarily make you come up with 2 words because it's easy to remember your 2 words that represent your guiding principles, but that's almost 2/3 of the way through a process that we show you so that you've got a lot backing up what those 2 words are. Mine were freedom and flexibility. So I'll give you an idea of why freedom and flexibility are so important to me. I saw on Facebook the other day a discussion about this whole grind and hustle is what it was called, the grind and hustle complex that's going around. All of the gurus are talking about how you have to work so hard, you have to grind it out so hard, you have to hustle all the time. And for me, that's not having my own business. That's not the kind of life that I want to live. I don't want to be all constantly grinding or hustling. I want to be having fun. My 2 words are freedom and flexibility. I want to have fun, and I want to have fun when I want to have that flexibility to have fun. So, 2 weeks ago, or a week ago actually, I came back from 2 weeks at the beach, and my business ran smoothly while I was gone because we've created a system that creates the freedom to allow me to do that and the flexibility that allows me to do that. I can work anywhere, from anywhere because of the laptop lifestyle, and I can go to for example, this year we've been on about 6 trips this year already, including a week-long road trip to Arizona and back from Alabama. I live in Alabama. And my wife and I did that because we'd never done a road trip, and it was just a delight. We had so much fun. And that's the goal, man, is to have so much fun. So if you've got your decision matrix built, if you've got your criteria laid out with things that match your core value and your guiding principles, and that fit within the vision of where you want to go, and help you get to that future state, then you can make an easy decision. And that's what we want, is a hell yes decision. If it does not help you do that, then it's hell no. And you don't have to think about it. You just look at it, say, this doesn't take me toward my dream. It's a no. This person doesn't take me toward my dream. It's a no. One of the processes that we have is called the dumping ground. And you have to go through your process there and actually look at all your relationships, all of your assets, and I'm not talking about money, but your abilities and your talents and all of that. And you dump the stuff that doesn't serve you. And in fact, you dump the people that don't serve your vision and your goals. Sometimes that's harder than others. Sometimes that means, you know, having to deal with people in a different way. But if you can, it might mean that you select new friends. So you want people who are going to support you, and they become a hell no. You've got people in your life like that, probably. We all do, and it's really important to not let them suck up your time. So the 10-step process that I keep referring to is core values, vision, only statement, guiding principles, asset inventory, current state, dumping ground, future state, execution plan, and the doneness details. So if you have an execution plan, what are you going to do? What do you do to implement that execution plan? That you measure it. So we give you a tool for creating the plan, and we give you a tool for measuring that plan so that you move forward in this process. So let's look at 4 of those that surround that decision matrix. Jan's having trouble with the slides. I haven't done anything, Jan. I'm sorry. They're still here. So the core values is one of the key 4 elements that around that decision matrix. The core values are the values that you hold inside, which cannot be violated. So you may be somebody who never tells a lie. That is a core value for you. You may be somebody that always helps your family. That's a core value. You may be somebody that goes to a religious service every Sunday, and you participate in that organization and that religion as much as possible. That's a core value. We give you a way to evaluate all of these core values in those 5 different areas. Remember the 5 different areas: well-being, health, relationships, business, and money. Those 5 areas are, we want to evaluate all of those core values and assign them to those 5 areas so that you know when, I mean, they can be different in each of those 5 areas, but by the time we're done with it, you will have engaged in a process where you have distilled all those core values into a really manageable list that you can work with, and they resonate with you. They become kind of your process, your heart. From there, you start working on your vision. And one of the key phrases that I tell people about with their vision is, and then what? And I'm going to explain that in a second. But without a clear vision, you don't have a destination. Without a destination, you don't have a direction. Without direction, you are stuck where you are. You might have dreams or think you have dreams, but if you haven't formalized it into a vision of sorts, then you don't know where you're going. My daughter and I spend a lot of time, my daughter's my partner in a business, along with my wife, and we have a team of 6 or 7 people, and we spend a lot of time evaluating what we're doing and if it is moving the vision of the company that we've created and shared together, if it's moving that vision forward. And a vision, by the way, is something that is usually so big that you don't see how you're going to get that accomplished. And here's an example in our business. We had a vision that every click on any one of our links would give us the lifetime value of that click for that customer throughout our entire process. So that's the behind the scenes for the technology that we use. We had this vision a couple of years ago of doing this in an automated way. We've been looking for the right tool, we've been trying out different things, and we think that yesterday we landed on that tool that fulfills that vision. We didn't know how to do it. We just knew that that was a piece of our company that we wanted. So if somebody clicks on a Facebook ad, we're going to know what that person does throughout our entire business going forward, and what the value of the spend for that Facebook ad was for that person. So that's a piece of our vision. We've talked about that a lot. The vision to me is one of the most important things. Now, I said that the comment or the phrase that you want to focus on with this is, and then what? We lead you through a process with this one so that you can talk, you have a partner, so that that partner, basically the partner is just a mouthpiece that says, and then what? They're not there to judge or anything, but you come up with a statement and then say, and then what? Cathy, are you still there?
I most certainly am, listening intently, just reaching for my mute button.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to the screen, and I want you to come back to the screen too for a second. We're going to show people what this is like, and you didn't know you were going to do this, but I'm going to pull it up on you, okay?
All right. Well, thanks for the warning.
Yeah, you got like 10 seconds warning here, okay? All right. So Cathy,
yeah.
I'll let you be the and then what person. I don't want to put you on the spot too much. So you just say to me,
okay.
I'm going to tell you what my vision piece is, and you say and then what to me, okay?
Okay, and this relates to your business?
Let's say it relates to my health.
Okay, let's do that one. I like that. Okay.
So my vision for my health is that I am medication free. I have done enough exercise that I'm medication free.
And then what?
Well, if I'm medication free, then I am eating well, and I'm focusing on organic food and really doing a nice job of making sure that I stay away from all the fast food restaurants.
And then what?
Well, if I'm feeling that good, I'm probably exercising a lot more, and I'm going to lose probably 20 pounds if I'm exercising more, because I really like to lose 20 pounds.
And then what?
Well, and then, you know, if I'm exercising more, I'm probably running a lot because I like to run. It's that meditation time that I get when I'm out there when I'm running. So, you know, one of the ways that I do that is I get focused, I lose the weight, I get focused on the running. They kind of go hand in hand. And I probably need to do a race. Maybe I need to do, boy, I've always wanted to do a half marathon.
Wow. And then what?
Yeah, so if I do the half marathon, well, a marathon's next. So then I would do a marathon, right?
And then what?
And if I've done the marathon, I'm in really good shape. And guess what? I think I'm feeling like I could actually hike the Appalachian Trail. You know, I've always wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail, but it means taking 6 months off. So to do that, but you know, I really think I could do that. What do you think, Cathy?
Wow, we're really getting somewhere, David.
See, now that's what happens is you get to a spot. I don't have a clue how I'm going to be able to hike the Appalachian Trail. It is a dream of mine, has been forever. So.
Yeah.
But what it does for me is walk through that process. I now have milestones. What I've done is create milestones. And what was the first one? Do you remember what the first one was?
Medication free.
Medication free. And the next one was exercise. And the next, it just gives me the steps for getting from here to there, right? So, because, and this is really important to keep track of your vision statement, because at the end of this we're going to create an execution plan, and the execution plan comes back to these statements that we make, and they become the milestones. Then we break those down into further steps so that, well, if I'm going to become medication free, I really do have to start watching what I eat, and I really do have to get a little bit more exercise, because you know, I've got diabetes in my family. That's controllable. So there's all that stuff, right?
So I have a question, David. What do you say to the people who, you know, when you especially start to get into this bigger stuff, like all of a sudden you're running a marathon, right? And what I find a lot of people have the tendency to do is go to this yeah but place, yeah but, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
they immediately kind of squash their vision, squash their dreams because they go to, well, I don't see how I can do that from where I am right now. So I'm not even going to admit to myself that that's something I might want to do. These yeah buts get in the way. So how do we deal with that?
So here's what happens with that. People do that, and I push them even further. When I get to be the and then what of this, um, and by the way, the partner that these people would choose is somebody in their house or somebody who's a friend or somebody who will support them but not judge them on their statements, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's really important. Um, but the yeah but people get scared. And
Yeah.
so it's really important at that point to understand that we're talking about fear, that we're involved here with a little fear, and the fear is that I've never done this before. So once you identify this, I've never done this before concept, it's like, oh yeah, I understand that. So what we're doing is we're going beyond that. Oh, I see. So now I'm opened up and I'm free to be able to make these statements that are a little wilder, a little crazy, right? And if you got somebody who just stays with the and then what and doesn't try to fix it for you,
Okay.
then they're going to push you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what and then what does. It just says, okay, well, that was great. You got that done. Now what? That's how you build a vision that becomes milestones for you in an execution plan. You
And
okay
it
with that?
feels exciting.
It is exciting. I love it. I love the process of doing this. This
Yeah.
entire thing is my favorite thing that we've ever created. We've created 600 products, by the way. This is my favorite thing. So because this thing actually changes people's lives, and people are really excited about doing this process. So let me get back over here to where we are with the vision. Now we're going to move fairly quickly through the rest of this. You should be seeing the vision statement back on the slides. And here's future state. We get a lot of questions about the future state. What is a future state? So the problem with that most of us have is that we think the future state is huge. The way you see what you really want, you now know your core values, you now know your uh, uh, vision that we just created. The future state takes those into consideration, and also the guiding principles, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And the future state, then you start throwing stuff away. You don't add stuff. You start throwing stuff away. Because what you're going to reveal is what's left that you love. It's what's left that you want to be. And that is the key to finding that place where your life is nothing but happiness and joy. Even if things are going wrong, it's happiness and joy. Because you are in the process of building a future state that is just so rewarding. It is just so rewarding. So you go through the process. People are saying, well, explain more about the future state. The future state is, that's not contained within the vision. Believe it or not, Bill, it's not contained within the vision. It is a result of the subtraction. It's a result of the vision, the combination of the vision, the core values, the guiding principles, and a couple other things that we throw in there as well. I think that was the only statement and your asset inventory and all this stuff. So it all builds to a future state. Okay? Guiding principles. I put this one last here because I want to talk about these. These are key. When you identify the guiding principles, they drive your life. And yours are going to be different from somebody else's. Yours could be security and family. It could be faith and friendship. It could be, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be business related. It could be something that drives you completely. Mine is freedom and flexibility. I want the freedom to be able to go where I want to go and see my kids, to see my grandkids, to do the things I want to do with my wife. I want the freedom to be able to go to the beach, to go on trips. We love to travel. I want all of that. And with that comes, I want flexibility. So this is, to me, the driving factors behind everything, because these two words you keep in the front of your brain, and everything that you look at, you said, does that help me or hurt me in achieving my guiding principles or staying within my guiding principles? That's an important concept for you to remember on this, guiding principles. Okay, so here we are back at this decision matrix. Let's go through this a little bit more in detail. You've got yourself inside here. The important part about being inside this box, is defining what this edge is. You want to define what this edge of the box is. And by doing that, you're revealing more and more about who you are. You understand your core values. You understand what's important to you. And a lot of people look at this and say, you know, it's a little woo-woo. It's a little hooey. Well, let me tell you, it is only woo-woo and hooey if you are afraid to look at these things, because core values means that you're only affirming your positive stuff, right? You're only affirming who you are and who you want to be. And a lot of us get angry. A lot of us get frustrated with what's going on around us. So the core values piece of it gives you a very good foundation for building out who you are. The vision helps you see potential. It helps you keep focused on something that is a possibility. That's what you're looking for here, is a possibility. And the guiding principles really help you understand what is important to you, why you're doing what you're doing. And all of that helps to build this future state of a kind of a vision in your mind, and it's a different kind of vision, but an image in your mind of where you would like to be and where you'd like to live, and all of that. So anything that bounces up against these things and there is resistance at any of this phase, any of these pieces, somebody offers you a software product online today. Does it help you achieve the vision for your business? If no, say no. Don't even think about it. But if it does help you achieve the vision of your business and the person selling it fits into the core value system that you've created, then it may be something that you pull into the box. The things you pull in the box doesn't mean that you're going to do everything that's in the box. It means that you're going to prioritize what's in the box. But they've passed the initial test of this external framework, the core values, vision, future state, and guiding principles. What you want to do is keep everything outside of this box that interferes or distracts from the rest of your life. Lowers your stress. That's what we're after, lowering your stress. So we're trying to get to the automatic decisions. So I said it already, it's to build a foundation. What's important to you? We start digging to uncover what you really want out of life. Now this is Larry. Larry said, wow, what a journey this has already been. The biggest surprise for me so far has been realizing the difference between words that describe ideals and associations I may have around business, relationships, etc., and those that are non-negotiable. I love that. Non-negotiable. That's what your core values are, non-negotiable. These are things that are deal breakers for me. Once you identify the deal breakers, then you are able to say no to a lot of things, including people. Those that trip my trigger at an emotional level and affect my decision making, and how much reflection it took to get honest with myself about it. The most immediate benefit I've realized from constructing the list is that I now recognize some of the reasons I've been stuck in my business and have greater confidence moving forward. I love that, and this comes straight from our Camp Clarity Facebook group that we have. So people going through the process. The next step is that you begin at the beginning. I know that sounds like a cliche, but here's another one for you. Every journey begins with the first step is to uncover core values. So we talked a little bit about that with Larry, and this is Craig. Craig says, hi there, Clarity Group. Well, it's 2:30 a.m. in Australia, and I've just been through the core values exercise again. That's a great point right there again, because when you get into this program, it's a lifetime program, your core values change. You find out sometimes that the vision you thought you had was not the vision that you really wanted. So one of the women who went through this process with us had a business that was, Cathy, you're going to love this, by the way, had a business that was 9 years old and making money. It wasn't making a lot of money, but she was working her fanny off. And so what she decided to do Halfway through this process, when she identified her foundational elements, including the core values and the guiding principles, was she closed her business. She closed that 9-year-old business and started a new business in a completely different area because she knew she hated the old business and it wasn't feeding her soul. The new business was feeding her soul. So it took this for her to make that decision. A lot of us avoid making the tough decisions because we don't know what we really want. If you know what you really want, the decision is much, much easier. He says, I have to say that this little exercise really separates the men from the boys, so to speak. What an awakening, how hard it was to select one word for each group. This is the changing the thought patterns for each decision that I now make, and I feel a lot better about it. What's your destination? Remember, we talked about the destination. These 4 elements are incredibly important to building this out. What is your destination? If you don't have a clear destination, you won't go anywhere. So this is Sherwood. Sherwood holds the record for going through our program in the shortest amount of time. He went through this in 4 days. And he won't mind me saying this, he's 75 years old, and he is looking for something to help him start the next phase of his life. Had to jump in here again and say, wow, thank you, David. This has really been an experience, and for the first time in my life, I have finished something like this besides school. The mind map was a bit of a challenge. We have a mind map at the end, and you use the mind map to create your execution plan. Totally engaging the ideas and thoughts, and oh my God, OMG, the epiphanies and realizations. I realized right away that my execution plan is a work in progress. Another key point. All of this is a work in progress. The reason you want to get in a program like this to start a work in progress is that you will get support and continue changing as you go. You always come back to a place where you can build and rebuild because life changes around you. What happens when you are a young mother with 3 kids under the age of 10 is going to be a lot different when you're a mother with kids all older than 25. So you become a different person and this adjusts with you. So that's the kind of program that we've created here. Now that you know your destination and you see a bright future, you lay out a map to get there. That's what the execution plan is all about. Let's see, this is Dennis. Dennis is one of our first one-on-one coaching clients in this process. And Dennis said, David's a great coach. We work together. Instead of pursuing every opportunity that popped up and wasting my time and resources on unproductive ventures, I focused on those that fit my core values that David and I had defined during the course. By achieving that clarity, I landed our biggest client to date within a month of completing the course. So, knew his destination, stopped getting sidetracked with detours, and the big opportunities came to him. So that's what I love to hear. People making room for the big opportunities. So remember, we're doing this through this decision matrix. This is you. This is the set of parameters that you create, walking through the process that we give you to do this. So this is where you can find out more about this. This is Camp Clarity, and the link for this is nams.ws/CD camp. CD, of course, is Cathy Demers. And there's a coupon code for $200 off on this, Get Clear. So Camp Clarity, nams.ws/CD camp, coupon code Get Clear. So in this thing, we support you with private learning platform. That is our behind the wall private platform so that you will be able to be as honest as you possibly can. Nobody sees it but you. And it helps you understand exactly what you need to do and how to get there, and we help you all along the way. So private learning platform, 10-step process I showed you earlier with exercises and documentation that you download and you use and that you create your process with. And we have a private Facebook group where you can share, ask questions, get support, find partners to go through the vision statement process with, all of those kind of things if you want to. And one of the things that we're going to add to this for a limited time is regular group calls. So these group calls are, we haven't specified yet when and where. We've done one of them previously, but you can expect to get regular group calls as we go through all 10 of these processes during the next year or so. And I'm saying that that would be like a call a month, something like that, over this period of time. And once we do these live calls, we'll record those, and people will get the recorded calls as we go forward. But this is just a huge process and a huge program for people that actually changes their life, and it's a very small investment for what you get. So the peers who've been through this process, you get these guys in this Facebook group as well, who are willing to support and help you achieve your dreams, as are we in that Facebook group to help you. So you get the learning platform, which is on our site, private to you, walks you through the process. That's incredibly important. Walks you through the process, and you have to complete each leg of the process. This is a process-oriented achievement, and you have to complete each leg of the process, and you have all the time in the world to do it, or you can do it as fast as you want. It's up to you. So it'll be there. It's 10 steps, 6 modules, and we give you all the support that you need in this as well. So Cathy, this is it. We got some questions in here, and I think we probably want to take a look at some of those and actually give people a chance to ask questions about the course, the program as well. So if you want to come back on, that'd be great.
Great.
So do you have any questions about this?
Well, I'd like to make a couple of comments before we go to questions. Is that okay?
Sure.
Because I've been listening very intently and thinking about a lot of things and how this relates to my business and my life. And, you know, one of the things that was said in one of the testimonials I really want to key in on, and that was where the fellow said, this is what separates the men from the boys, right? Or the girls from the women, if you will, right? Yep. I know what he meant. And, you know, this program is really about leadership. It's about personal leadership. And so I was thinking about when he said it separates the men from the boys from the men. Investing in a program like this is really separating people who are just interested in success, just sort of playing around the edges of business, from those who are really serious about having business success. To me, that's what's meant by separating the boys from the men or the girls from the women. And the other thing that I want to mention is that, you know, as a business owner, it's really important to develop our leadership skills. In this case, it's personal leadership, but organizations, I worked for IBM for several years, they invested tens of thousands of dollars in my leadership skills. Most of us as small business owners don't have other people to, you know, motivate us to do this work, pay for this work. We're on our own to do it, but that doesn't make it any less important to do this type of leadership work. And there's a couple really big advantages. One is the price. Oh my gosh, you know, it's like it's an amazing price. And the other thing is that we can do it at our convenience and online. So you don't have to, like I had to, fly to Toronto for several weeks to do this kind of work. So I wanted to mention that because organizations know how important it is to develop leadership skills for their teams. But I think as small business owners, we often put ourselves and our own leadership development way back in the pack of all the things we need to do. And you've done just a really excellent job, David, of really highlighting why this work is so important and making, you know, a really, really great opportunity for people to do that. I'm excited and my heart is full, you know, because of what people are going to be able to accomplish. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. Now we can get into questions, but I was bubbling over to make those comments, David.
Thank you. That's really nice of you to say. You know me, and you know my history, and you know my story. I'm not somebody who likes to get out and do a lot of hypey sales stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I do like to do is solve problems. That's the consultant in me, is to solve problems. And this was a problem of mine. And one of the things that I struggled with, it started with that $22,000 that I spent and had nothing to show for it. And by the way, I spent it like $27 at a time, which is ridiculous, right? Because nothing at $27 is going to give you the kind of solution that you need. And I can guarantee you that you're not going to get the kind of solution that you need unless you're incredibly self-motivated. Mm-hmm. But I did that, $27 a time, $22,000, and finally got myself a coach and a mentor and learned how to start making money online. And one of the things about making money online for me was solving problems. That was always the basis of the whole thing. My biggest problem was that I wanted to be everything to everybody in the beginning because I didn't have a clear definition of who I was. And so when I got, and this has really only happened, I've been online doing business online since 2004. This has really only happened in the last 3 years, is coming to this spot. And I've been building this program through my own, what do they call that when you go through fire in
School
combat?
of Hard Knocks?
Yeah, that. It's been School of Hard Knocks. It's been trial and error. It's been trial by fire. That's what I was thinking, trial by fire. Because, like I said earlier, I had 557 products, I think it was, last year or the year before. But they were all over the place. So nothing was feeding my vision or my future state because I didn't know what it was. And when I started going through the, and this and then what that is getting attention here in the chat box, this statement and then what is something I learned in 1983 when I had a business that was a stock photo agency. And I went to see a mentor at that point for a day, and we spent the entire day basically sitting in his office, and he was just kept asking me, and then what? And at first I thought, you know, this guy's a real jerk. But then after that, I realized I had thought about things in a way that I never had before. I had come out of there with more confidence about how I could accomplish anything than I had ever had before. And I had a bigger dream that was not just good for me, but good for all of those around me when I left that. Because that statement pushes you all the way. It pushes all of your buttons. It makes you look at difficult things, and it makes you come up with that vision. And if you track it, and the reason we give you the process that we have is because you fill in the documents with every step, and then what? People who shortcut that process, if they shortcut that process, they end up with a shortcut process on their execution plan. My execution plan here is on my wall. I can't show it to you, but it's on a 4x8 cardboard poster board, printed on a mind map in 5 main sections with probably 200 tasks on it.
So
and
don't show
all
it
of
to
those.
Scare a few people.
What?
That might scare a few people.
It might scare a few people, but guess what? I can knock them off one at a time. And I know where it's going to lead me. Every one of the nodes leads me to the next milestone. So each milestone has maybe 3 or 4 things on it. I can knock off milestones now because I know what they are. And I love that. So Donita says, how can you come up with a starting point for the and then what questions? You start with where you are. So on the health thing that we did earlier, you know, how's my health today? Well, you know, right now I'm 15 pounds overweight and not running as much as I would like. I would really like to start running again. I'm trying. I walk every morning. No, I don't. I lied. I walk 1 out of every 3 mornings, and I really need to get back to more running and more walking. So I would say my next step is to start doing some more walking to get consistent with the walking. Okay, and then what? So we've started. That's it. It's a conversation. It's how you start. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
So Cathy, is there something you would like to start with in your program that you think you'd want to walk through that kind of process with?
Walk through it with you as an example?
Yeah.
Oh boy, put me on the spot here.
I am.
Let me see. I'm just trying to think of, I'm brave. I'm just trying to think of where's a good place to start. What were the 5 areas again?
Health, relationships, well-being, money, and business. You and I do this all the time, by the way, with business when we talk privately.
Well, we do. We do. You and I have some absolutely fantastic discussions there. Well, why don't we start there?
Okay.
Why don't we do that? I'm brave.
So go ahead. Where are you now with your business? What's your next step?
I want to pick one particular area, and that is, you know, well, here we go. Here we go. Here, let me be really totally honest here. I don't do a lot of this kind of on-camera work. You know that about me, David.
I
You
do.
know,
I
like,
occasionally put
oh,
you on
do
the
we have to go
spot.
on camera, right? And you know, I'm probably not the only one who thinks this way. So you always, you know, having events with you pushes me out of that safety place in doing these. And I'm not going to go into all the reasons why, but you know, the truth is that I would like to do more on-camera work on video, because
And
I
then what?
think that would be very good for my business. So is that a good place for us to start?
And then what?
And then what? And then I'd have a better relationship with people who have attended my events or whatever it is, because they get to see the color of my eyes, you know. So
And
there
then
you go.
what?
Well, this is interesting. This is kind of challenging. And then, well, I'd eventually feel more comfortable with doing it. Right? I know. I think that's true. I would eventually, not 100%, but more comfortable with doing it. I'd like
And
to be
then
more.
what?
And then what? And then I do more of it. I would do
And
it a lot.
more of on camera.
More on-camera work, video work, you know, recording little snippets, whatever it is.
And then what?
Uh, I'd I'd make more money. You know, I think that if I did more video on sales pages and things like that, I'd actually make more money and just get better rewards for the work that I am doing without having to work a whole lot harder.
And then what?
Then what? And then what? Um, well, it, then this is kind of cool. You know, then I would be more willing to take longer vacations without worrying about the impact on my revenue.
Okay, so I want to point out something
Uh,
here
Yes,
because this is interesting. This is what happens to everybody. You hit that level of comfort, right?
yes,
You hit that level of comfort, and all of a sudden, wow, anything above this is
yes.
going to be a bit of a stretch for me, right? And so that's where we start pushing, and I can see that you're uncomfortable with that a little bit. So the next question I have is, and then what?
I could have seen that coming, right? Um,
Right.
then what? Man, um, and it's not even so much that I'm uncomfortable with it. Well, maybe I am. That's how it's coming out. But I'm like, well, and then
You
what?
did this. You
Yeah,
literally
literally
did this. You
had a
literally went
little,
like
had a
that.
little bug right here, right? So it's a little bug. It's interesting how we have those. It's a little distraction, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And then what? Well, you know, the truth is that then I would really be able to step away from the office for long, extended periods of time and go away on our boat more, which is off the grid.
Okay, so
Challenge for me right now,
yeah,
off the grid.
yeah.
Yes.
So we won't go any further, but see where that led? That led
Yes.
to something that was completely away from the business.
I couldn't have predicted that when we first started this.
And that's the point. That's the reason this is so important because people don't know what they don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, the process that we have here is to lead you to um, a place that you don't know exists. And that place that you don't know exists is really what you want. And the
Hmm.
reason that we have a little a report that we call How to Find Out What You Really Want, and it's all about this process. And it is because people do not know what they really want.
Hmm.
It's so amazing to me. Even successful people that we look at, and by the way, this is one of the things that we really try to get away from in this program, is comparing ourselves to others. And you know, because what we think's going on in their life may not be going on at all. We often find out that we would much rather have our problems than their problems, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So, um, so my point about this is that we find out that what we really want is something completely different from what we thought, and it takes real pushing and digging to get to that. And once you find out what you really want, you have built a side of your box. You just did that with one of those 5 areas, right?
Right,
You just built
absolutely.
one side of your box, which was that.
Mhm. Well, you know, it's interesting because as I'm thinking this through, I mean, one of the things that's really important to me is independence. And I know you use the phrase freedom and flexibility. For me, it's independence, and it's a little bit different. I have a different
Yep.
connotation on it. And it's interesting because when I'm really clear about that and use this, and then what process, I'm getting closer and closer to that independence that I'm really looking for. So the whole idea of being off the grid, it was, it fills my desire, my core value of independence clearly, but I haven't really designed my business to support that as much as I could. So now I'm on a path. So this is perfect. This is good.
Okay, but there is another benefit of doing this, right? Because you
Yes.
identified the off the grid as being a key element. What's it
Yeah,
take to be off the grid from a business perspective? Automated revenue, right?
definitely.
And so you and
Automated
I talk
revenue
a lot
team.
about the automated
Yeah.
pieces of what we do.
Yeah,
And
and team especially. For me, that's a big one, is putting that team in place so that the
yep.
business, they can run the business more than
And
I can.
I'll give you a real life example of how this worked for us. On this past weekend, my brilliant daughter Jennifer, who's down here, you guys can't see her, but she's here as well, helping manage the chat box. But this past weekend, we've been working toward this for a long time. We have a fairly good sized list. It's not huge by any means, and it's not small, but it's probably medium. But we've never really segmented that list to the point where we could take advantage of what people want, what they've told us they want, and offer to those folks things that are focused on their desires. And so this past weekend, over a 3-day period, we had 3 promotions running at once, 3 different products to 3 different segments, small list that made us several $1,000s. And that was completely automated because we both built it. It was Memorial Day weekend, last weekend here, holiday weekend. We both built it, and she built it, and I did my parts, which is very small these days. And we go away, and it works while you're gone. So that was a vision that we had last year, and it took a while to get there. We had to start building the pieces out. You see the vision, you see the future state. We're inching much, much closer to our future state from the business perspective. My wife and I taking that road trip earlier this year was a piece of that vision from the relationship perspective, and the well-being perspective as well. Going to the beach and actually spending a few days on the beach. Here's what I used to do when I went to the beach. I would go to the beach. We'd rent a nice little place. It's a nice little condo on the beach in Venice, Florida. Beautiful dunes, beautiful beach. We got a place where I could sit at the kitchen table with my computer and work all day and look at the water. That was my idea of a vacation. My wife would be out on the beach. So this time, because of what we're doing here, and I realized that the things that I wanted were to be on the beach, not in the kitchen table. So that's a direct result of this program. Does that make sense?
It really does, and to me, it's just fascinating that we came from my resistance, hesitance to be on camera, all the way to, well, what I really want to do is set things up so that I can go with my husband on our boat into areas where there is no cell phone access, there is no internet access, and it's really important for my relationship with him. And we are doing that, by the way. I just find I'm limiting the amount of time I'm willing to do that because I haven't quite set the business up yet to run without me completely.
But now that you know,
yeah,
you're going to be focused on getting that done is what's going to happen.
Yes.
So let me say one other thing about this, and then we'll kind of shut this down. The questions have died down here, and we're getting some of those answered already. And the link is in the chat box here, nams.ws/cdcamp. nams.ws/cdcamp. And the coupon code was GETCLEAR, all capital.
Can you tell people what the price was again? Because I think we've had some questions about that.
This is a $497 program, $497. The coupon code will get you $200 off only until we said Friday night, right, Jennifer? Midnight Pacific. Friday night, midnight Pacific, this coupon code goes away. So, we'll have to make sure that we can do that Pacific time, Jen. Okay, good. Got it. We can. All right, so listen, the thing that I wanted to say about this was, before we left it, was that, Cathy, you started out with a business opportunity on camera.
Yes.
You ended up in a personal benefit, really.
Yes,
And
definitely.
that's what happens to all of these things. Every time you go through any side, and the reason we take all 5 of these is because you end up coming to kind of the same thing for all of them, right? They all
Hmm.
come to the same thing. And once you know what that one thing is, that's the key. That's the big deal. That's the reason I love this program.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So have we
Anything before we
gone through all
go?
the questions?
Will there be a replay? There will be a replay. This will go down on Friday night at midnight. So we'll send out the replay list.
So there will be, it'll be a time limited replay for people who've registered. So
That's right.
yeah, good.
Let's see. Eva says, all the time when you speak about future state, I think of it as a goal. Any comment on that? Any difference from a goal? Yeah, this is a big difference from a goal. A goal to me is an actionable task. A goal is an actionable task. A goal is something that you put down. It's like a milestone to me. It is something you put down on a piece of paper. I'm going to achieve this. A future state is, to me, and it's almost like a vision board or an image that you see out there in the future of the way you want to be, but you have no idea how it will become that. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Do we see anything else? Summer said you did a great job with that. So that was awesome. Thanks, Cathy.
You're welcome. David challenges me. That's one of the things you'll love about working with him is he challenges you. It's excellent.
Well, that's the fun part, right?
Well, yeah, for you maybe. Well, that brings up an important point in that, sometimes this work is not all that comfortable. I will say that. And you talked about balance and moving things up so that we're actually doing better and better in all areas. And sometimes it comes with a bit of discomfort. That's why we call it a comfort zone. We say get out of your comfort zone, where it's a little bit uncomfortable. And that doesn't mean it can't be fun. That doesn't mean it can't be fun. But our dreams, what it is we desire, is in the area above our comfort zone.
Oh
That's
yeah,
where.
way. So the last thing I want to say before we go here is that I am so committed to this program that when we get people coming in who want to do our $25,000 one-on-one deal, this is what they have to do first, or we don't do it, because it makes no sense to me to spend a ton of money on something if you don't know why you're doing it. And this is all about why you're doing it. So let's see. Nancy says, thanks so much for sharing valuable content. Mike says, great insights. Andrea says, super teleclass. Thank you. I plan to sign up and ask my significant other to do the same. That's my and then what for now. Sounds perfect to me. So,
sounds perfect.
Cathy, thanks.
David, thank you so much. You're so generous with your information, your time, and I've been looking forward to this. This was even better than I thought it was going to be. So thank you so much. Thank you, Jennifer, for handling things in the back. We couldn't do this without you. And David, we'll see you again very soon. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.